Welcome to CMO Dialogues hosted by Anika Sharma, the podcast where marketing leaders explore the intersection of creativity, strategy, and technology. From AI to data-driven storytelling, CMO Dialogues explores how C-suite leaders are reshaping customer engagement and driving growth. Bold insights, real stories, the future of marketing straight from the mavericks.
Hi, Partha. Welcome to
Hi,
the CMO Dialogues podcast. I'm
hi,
super
hi, Anika.
thrilled to have you as one of the first few guests. This has just been launched, and the idea of this podcast, and of course, my name is Anika. I lead the CMO services for LTI Mindtree Interactive. And being a tech company, it is our endeavor to better understand the CMO organization and the business side of the organization, because we believe that tech is an enabler, and the reason for tech to exist is to fulfill some need of the consumer or the customer. Partha, I've met you in previous roles, right? You used to be the head of a pretty, critical, pretty important I should say dynamic agency. In fact, literally the black sheep of the agency
That's
world.
right.
Yes, that's where I met you. And then, of course, I reached out to you when you were just transitioning out as the first ever president and chief brand officer of the Times of India Group, right? Which is, of course, Bennett and Coleman. But people know it as, India's not just number one newspaper, but India's national newspaper. Like, if India has a language called Hindi, India has, a newspaper that is very much at the heartbeat of India, and that's Times of India Group. So a warm welcome. I'm sure I've left a few things out. Please do, enlighten us on some of the multiple hats that you have worn over the last so many years.
No, I mean, you have pretty much captured it. I have mostly worked. I mean, other than my first stint with finance, which was Citibank, other than that, I have mostly been in media, advertising, and marketing. And you have captured pretty much everything. Only thing you may like to add is currently I'm the chairman of ASCI in India, which is the Advertising Standard Council of India, which is basically the uh, self-governance body,
And what
self-governance
is the
body of
role of ASCII, Partha?
ASCII is actually about self-governance. If you don't have a self-governance mechanism, then the government governs it. So nobody wants that,
Okay.
right? So basically, ASCII therefore determines whether an ad is good enough to run and not good enough to run, and we advise people accordingly. Uh, and we don't do it. Uh, I mean, the board doesn't do it. There are people, secretariat, and then there is committees. There are committees which are made of people from the industry, from the consumer side, from legal. So these people get together, and whenever there is a complaint which comes up about an ad, these are the people who deliver it, and then they give the final verdict.
Wow. So you're saying that all the ads that come out, they're not just any company that decides that they have to put an ad out. It's actually there's a governing council to ensure that there are certain ethical standards that have been met, that there are certain other
Yeah.
guidelines. Am I right? Is that
That's right.
and
That's right.
yeah.
So this is about self-regulation. So not every ad is picked up. Only if an ad is picked up by the consumer, or nowadays we also pick up ads on our own, and we use a lot of AI to pick up the ads
Oh,
on our own. Yeah, yeah. Because
so we're
because
going to
right
talk
now
about
it's
AI a lot today. So
sure,
that's a great
sure. I
example.
mean, is there an escape? If in an interview I don't talk about AI, then I don't think people are willing to continue that interview. So there is no escape. But yes, we pick up the communication which is violating the self-regulation guidelines, and then we speak to those people to either correct it or take it off air or whatever,
Yeah,
like.
yeah, yeah,
And because with digital the proliferation is too much, right? So
yeah,
therefore it has to be a
yeah.
auto pickup AI generated or an AI engine which actually picks up these communications.
Beautiful. To see ASCI, which has been a legendary organization in India, and see it morph, right, to new standards is just absolutely heartening. As somebody who has been in the agency world and has, worked with some of the best agencies in the world, it's just absolutely fascinating to see how this continues to morph. I want to come back to, and as the conversation today is to better understand that intersection of, right, the brand organization and the tech organization. I wanted to come back to the role that you're just transitioning out of. You were the first president and the first ever chief brand officer of the Times of India Group.
That's right.
Why did or does the Times of India Group need a chief brand officer?
Okay, this is interesting because in Times of India, the P&Ls are run basis brands. So brand is not just marketing. Brand is also the P&L.
For example?
So, for example, the Times of India brand director runs the profit and loss of Times of India. So which means that revenue, cost, efficiency, everything comes under the gamut.
The digital aspect, the print aspect, all of it. The brand Times of India Group. Similarly, the music
brand,
group.
The brand, when I say the brand Times of India, I mean the brand Times of India in print, because the internet company runs as a different company. It's TIL, Times Internet Limited. It runs as a different company. I'm talking about the print product, which is the Times of India brand.
Okay. And so therefore, there could be another, just like you said, the digital aspect is a different P&L. And then, so for example, obviously
so Economic Times is a different P&L.
And then Times Music.
Times is a different. Times Music and all, they don't come under this. Times Music is a different business altogether.
Right. So the chief brand officer's role was?
The chief brand officer's role is to ensure three things. One is that all the brands are running with great profitability and therefore great efficiency and stuff. Second is the editorial integrity is absolutely maintained, because editorial integrity is everything in a news organization. So to protect it against commercial pressure is a very important thing. And the third is, of course, maximizing revenue. So maximizing revenue, there is a full-fledged sales team. So the brand team works with the sales team to ensure there is maximization of revenue. But one of the key aspects of the brand organization today is also how the newsroom is going to morph, the future of the newsroom. And there a lot of AI comes in. And that was actually my the project I kind of just finished in it's still continuing, but we did the structure of the project, we did the tech. So basically integration of AI in the newsroom.
What is the future of the newsroom, considering that people get their news? I get my news from Google. I know people who get their news from Twitter. I had written a piece long time ago where newspapers were picking up what was trending on Twitter and making it news, right? So they were trying to keep up with the consumer who was tweeting everything. And of course, that's why you also get into false news, because, the people could spread a rumor and it would not be true. So what is the future of the newsroom?
Okay. Before we answer that, I want to ask a simple question. What do you think is the most important role of a journalist in society? What is the role of a journalist in society? I mean, any society, whether it's in the US, whether it's in India, whether it's UK, wherever. What is the role of a journalist?
I don't know whether you know, Partha. I had my first signed printed piece in a newspaper when I was 16. So, writing is very close to my heart. And I believe that and one of the reasons I used to love writing in India and now in the US, but was because I believe the role of the journalist, or journalist as they call it, is to have an independent voice, right? So almost like you defined ASCII for advertising, the role of the journalist is to have an independent point of view, right? Not impacted by the government, not impacted by people, the herd, the crowd, right? Is to really keep an objective point of view on what is happening. And sometimes, of course, depending on the kind of journalism that you're doing, it could also be that the journalist himself or herself has a point of view on it, right? So that's, to me, it is about reporting the news. And if you're reporting the news, that means that you're being an observer to the news without being part of the news. So I don't know if I got that right, but that's,
No,
that's
no.
in my mind.
You are pretty much in the same area, but I will go even one layer below, and I would say the most important role of a journalist is to do fact check.
Yes, yes. Okay.
So everything else is secondary. Whether the person has an opinion, whether the person has a point of view, is all secondary. First, I need to know from a news organization, is the news correct? Or is the news being told in a manner which suits some purpose?
Correct.
So when you talked about social media, that is the biggest problem with social media, because till date, I cannot find out if a piece of news is right or wrong. It could trend, it could not trend, it could be a complete lie. Even if it's trending, it could be a complete lie. We have seen
That's
that in the past.
We've seen that
How many
times
we
in
have
the
seen that?
past. How many?
So,
Yeah.
So
people
so
have been
therefore, a
dead
news
without
brand,
realizing they are dead.
correct.
People.
Like
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, every 3 months, Morgan Freeman, poor guy, dies. Unfortunately, but
Yes.
so the fact remains that the critical role of a news organization or a news brand is to give the assurance to people that this thing that I'm putting out is fact checked. So that makes a news brand. So when certain news, it comes with certain news brand authentication, you're 100% sure. I don't want to take names right now because there was a trust study done by I think it was done by BBC, and Times of India came pretty much number one. Like by far the number one globally in terms of trust index.
Wow.
So
yeah.
So this happened because a news organization is built on the quality of fact check, right? Now, fact check cannot happen through technology, fortunately, because to do fact check, somebody needs to go to the field, somebody needs to go to the ground and try and figure out that whatever is being meted out to you, it could be through an agenda. So you need to question that news from 5 different other angles. And that is not possible without a human intervention till date. I mean, right now, the AI robo interface is still very nascent. So one day there could be a robo controlled by AI who is going into the field. I don't know that. But as of now, it's not happening, right? So the AI robotics, like interface is not really that developed yet. So therefore, what will happen, the future of news or the future of the newsroom, there are 2 parts to it, future of news and future of newsroom. Future of news is very secure. You still need trusted sources for facts because there are too many people with too many agendas in the society to feed you whatever suits their purpose, right?
Correct.
One journalist said a very interesting thing once. He said that when the headline is the same across media, then it's not news, it's ad. Because in advertisement, the headline remains same. Beautiful. In news, the headline doesn't remain same, right? So therefore, when the headline is the same, somebody is feeding it, right?
Yes.
So therefore, fact checking will always remain the primary important thing, and it will remain human centric. So then what happens to the newsroom? So what happened over the years in newsroom was there are few people who are going to the field and more people who are rewriting,
Yes.
So they will file something from the field. So one guy will do a subbing, another guy will do another level of subbing. It became so much that globally, more than 50% of people, maybe 65% people were doing desk job and only 40% people were doing field jobs. So the future of news is going to change because rewriting is something I can teach a machine. Rewriting is something I can teach a machine because who's a good rewriter for, say, Economic Times? Somebody who knows the style of Economic Times, right? How does he know the style of Economic? How does he or she know the style of Economic Times?
Brand
because
guidelines.
he or she has been reading the Economic Times for so many years and has been seeing and analyzing news and has been talking with the colleagues, and that's how they develop.
You're talking about the brand tone of a newspaper or a printer. Okay. Yeah.
Now I can feed 20 years of newspaper into a machine and ask the machine to analyze for tone, for manner, for everything. And like the same piece of news, a Times of India will report differently, and then Economic Times will report differently. But you can teach a machine to pick up the same news and write like Times of India or write like
That's correct. That's correct.
Right?
That's
so
correct.
that part of the job, a lot of it will happen at the machine level.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you still need human to be able to take calls, which are judgments and which are first-hand understanding of what the reader may be going through and what are the minute changes in readers. That data can also come in through machine, but at the same time, somebody will have to take judgment calls. So I say jokingly that your job is secure if artificial intelligence is reporting to you or you are reporting to artificial intelligence. if you are competing with artificial intelligence, your job is not secure.
Wow.
So in the middle, you are competing with artificial intelligence. At top, artificial intelligence is reporting to you. At bottom, you are reporting to artificial intelligence. So that's how I kind of pictorially see it.
Beautifully. So what basically
the future of newsroom.
No, absolutely. So I just want to summarize that. So the future of newsroom is the fact that you're going to need more people out there, right? Having those real interactions, having the real conversations, because the summarizing and the fact that it all has to be brought together, or the fact that it has to be made succinct or whatever, you're not going to need rewriters. What you actually need are people who are going to be out there, right? Like literally, I remember like Nat Geo used to do, or or The Economist used to do. So you're going to need more people on the road. Am I right? Is that what you're saying? And then the people who are going to come back with that intelligence. Yeah. So let's talk about, Partha, in every role of yours, right? So before being, the Times of India Group's first chief brand officer, and it was really fascinating for you to, when you said what was the role of the chief brand officer, you actually started with revenue, right? You said, the goal is
P&L.
To make those brands profitable.
It's profit and loss. In Times of India, profit and loss is run on brands. So there's a Times of India P&L, there's an Economic Times P&L. So all are led by brand directors. The brand directors used to work with me.
Work with you, yeah.
That's how.
What are some of the changes? Yeah, and you joined during COVID. That was
right.
hard.
But that time I was doing the revenue role. That time I was not doing the brand role. I was doing the revenue role.
Have you seen it change in the last 5 years?
Of course, everything is changing. Everything is changing at a dramatic pace. In fact, it's not just changing with digital or consumer habit alone. It's changing with even climate. The climate changes. So there was a very famous Thomas Freeman speech in 2018. He said, and I mean, I still remember part of it. It said, changes involving markets, Earth's climate and technology are reshaping social and economic life in a very powerful way and putting a premium at learning faster. If you're not learning faster, technology is now accelerating at a pace the average human cannot keep pace with. Yeah. And it is also linked with the pace at which there's climate change, the place at. So all these are putting a huge amount of emphasis on accelerated learning. And that is what the truth of brand organization.
That climate association a little bit more for people who may not it's because that's a very interesting, I've not heard about it before. And, I've had quite a few conversations. That's really interesting.
There are two things which are changing any business today. One is tech, the way the business construct is. Another is climate. So what the business is adding or taking back from the environment. These are the two most important pointers today. Yeah. So both are changing at a frantic pace. Yeah. What was carbon neutral yesterday is no longer carbon neutral today. So like organization, it's a futile exercise for organization to keep plowing into their own profit pool and
Without being conscious
we
of where they're doing business. Yeah.
not conscious. See, all those nice things are gone. That day
I
is
was just
over.
going to I was
No,
going to say you didn't use the word sustainability. That's very
no.
interesting.
I
You're
mean,
talking about
I mean,
climate as an impact on business. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
sustainability and all are very nice terms. Good to say. It makes a
Yeah.
CEO look good. Those days are over. Now,
Right.
actual real climate problems are
Right.
are being faced by businesses.
For
Real
instance,
climate problem.
for instance,
For
yeah.
instance, the way, say, crop is getting produced,
Yeah.
the weather changes in a particular area, the way urbanization is having impact. So all these things are real today. It's actually impacting businesses, impacting profitability directly, and
Yeah.
tech is also impacting profitability directly. So I'm
Right.
saying it is making such a lot of impact that if you're not learning fast enough,
Yeah. Yeah.
then
You will not be able to
then
keep pace. Yeah.
because an average human, it's impossible to keep pace with this speed. It's
Yeah.
absolutely impossible. So therefore, the important thing is the organization itself has to make people, like learn a little faster.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because most organizations till maybe about 5 years ago was running on muscle memory, right?
Yeah. Hmm. Right.
COVID, COVID is would you call COVID like a climate related issue? It's a biological issue, but it is at the end of the day something which has impacted your environment, right? And see
Yeah.
what happened to business. There are
Yeah.
more of this going to happen. People have to prepare for it. There is no option. Gone are those nice things as saying, like we will talk about carbon neutral footprint, and we are a sustainable organization. All those typically the like the wives of the promoters used to talk about sustainability.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it was
Hmm.
always the pretty
Good
thing
to
to say.
have. Yes.
It
Yes.
now it's real. It's hitting us, and
Yeah.
uh, it is on a path where I very strongly believe that we are on a path of self-destruction almost. So
Yeah.
how quickly that destruction will happen is a question. But
Yeah.
we are on a path of climate-wise, we are on a path of like a little bit of point of no return, because
Hmm.
the amount of Earth's surface that is gone, and because of which we are not getting good quality food products. Therefore, food companies, which is packaged food companies, are not being able to give stuff. Therefore,
Hmm.
most of the stuff is genetically modified. Then
Correct.
genetically modified leads to cancerous stuff. So you see, there is no end to it, right?
Hmm.
There is
Hmm. Hmm.
absolutely no end to it. And the
Hmm.
other thing is the way things happened before. Now, tech has kind of reorganized and reorganized the whole thing again. So
Hmm.
you really don't know which part is a
Is
must do,
tech. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Hmm.
which part is a must do for human, and which part is a must do for tech.
Correct. Right. 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 But
So
what doesn't that
the
change every month as tech continues to, the words I would use is as tech continues to humanize more, right? I think the what might be true even 3 months ago or 6 months ago may not be true anymore, right?
See, there's this term in AI which is called HITL, human in the loop. Okay.
Yeah.
So human in the loop is a massive conversation today. And one of the key thing about human in the loop is also to say that, you know, the problem today in many, especially in brand organization, is
Yeah.
humans are trying to copy tech. Tech should copy
Hmm.
human.
Hmm.
So what is happening is looking at data footprint of purchase on e-commerce, the marketing programs are trying to like desperately
Yeah.
mimic that.
Hmm. Hmm.
It should be the other way around. It should
Hmm.
be the data should be mimicking an insight.
Hmm. Right,
you
right,
know
right,
so
right, right, right.
so
I was actually
so
laughing when you said human in the loop. I'm like, how quickly we went instead of the tech in the loop. We went like so quickly and dramatically into the human in the loop, right? Imagine like we're trying to thrust ourselves in instead of trying to see how technology can thrust itself in, right? So, and it looks like from your conversation part, it looks like what you're basically saying is there is no single industry or business, right, that is not impacted by this change. Am I right? In that sense, it's almost
there
like a
is
leveler.
there is no chance. There is no chance that any industry is not impacted by tech and climate. These two are the most critical thing that is going to drive business in the next
Wow.
10 years.
Right. Right.
It is. I mean, we are underestimating climate today. Give it
Yeah.
3 years and see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
We underestimated tech also, didn't we? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Now you come from, you're talking about tech, right? You came from the advertising industry, right? Obviously, another thing that's very close to my heart. I learned everything about brands and consumer journeys and the power of big ideas, right? In that industry. Now, I believe now that you have come out of there for a few years, right? You perhaps have, but you're still part of ASCII. You perhaps have an opportunity of looking at it from an outsider's perspective, right? As the consumer continues to change, I believe that the way organizations need to talk to the consumers, right, will need to change. Do you see a change happening in the way advertising agencies are representing brands, or how, brands should be talking to, I would love your point of view on it as someone who's seen the consumer change and being part of that conversation for, I think, almost your entire life.
Okay. So I want to trace back a little. I'm an engineer. So when I studied in IIT, so I did algorithm and artificial intelligence when most people didn't even hear about artificial intelligence, because it's artificial intelligence became big
So
only
right
when
now, the environment is home to you. Actually, you can look around and say,
yeah,
okay. Okay.
So people used to laugh, saying that, "Arey, what
Yeah.
an engineer will do in advertising and stuff like that." Today,
Yeah.
everybody is telling me, "Can you tell me what kind of algorithm?" And I sort of laugh. So therefore,
How did you get into it, actually?
how did I get into it? Nothing. I mean, I'm one of the typical, classic middle class academic profile. In middle class, if you're slightly good in academics, you go to IIT and IIM. So I did
No, I
that.
meant, how did you get into advertising? How did
So
you end up in advertising?
exactly,
Yeah.
I was coming
Yeah.
there. Exactly, I was coming there. Then from there, I went to IIM Ahmedabad. So there, people joined two companies, either Citibank or Unilever. So I joined Citibank. So I chanced upon,
Yeah.
I had a chance meeting with Ranjan Kapoor, God bless his
Mm-hmm.
soul. So he is
And
also
Ranjan
ex-Citibank.
Kapoor,
I
for
didn't know.
those, as this is a global podcast. So first and foremost, I want to let people know, for those who don't know what IIT and IIMs are, some of the biggest CEOs in the world have come from these institutions, right? They're some of the best institutions in the world for engineering and for business. So, that's that heritage.
Just to put it in perspective, Sundar
Yeah.
Pichai is from my college. So I rest my case.
Yes. And if you don't know who Sundar Pichai is, let's not have a conversation. So,
That's right.
okay. And then, so Ranjan Kapoor, for those who may
Ranjan
not
Kapoor was
know.
the India CEO of Ogilvy at that time. So he is also an ex-Citibanker. I just
Right.
chance uh, chance met him in a party, and we got talking. We liked each other, and he said, "You seem to be a good fit for advertising." And I asked him, "What is that?" So
Yeah. What
so
is
that
the
was
good
my.
fit for advertising?
I had no idea, and I
Right.
didn't have an idea of what advertising industry was. And then one thing led to another. I ended up joining Ogilvy. I had a fantastic 5 years in Ogilvy, and then it all kind of started from there. So
Yeah.
okay, coming back to your question, that what changes I'm seeing. See, the changes I'm seeing are actually a little scary and funny. Scary because people are not understanding that
Hmm.
where they can intervene and where
And by people, you don't mean people on the street. You mean businesses. Am I right? Yes.
businesses.
Yes.
When I
Yes.
say people, I mean people who are running businesses,
Yes.
people who are chasing consumers, people who
Yeah.
are trying to
Yeah.
sell their products and services.
Trying to sell.
So
Yes.
yeah, so we all thought that, you know tech is about intelligence.
Yeah.
So basically, I will have so much intelligence that I will out intelligence the consumer.
Yeah.
This was the original thinking. So even before he wakes up in the morning, I'll catch him and put
Blast
in three
him. Yeah.
messages saying
Yes.
it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And unfortunately, what had happened was, like, if you see the biggest power, I mean, different parts of, you of course know about the Gartner's hype cycle. So the Gartner's hype cycle of digital marketing, if you see the initial phase, it was all about ACM and ACO and data analytics. And If you notice where we learn data analytics from, we learn data analytics from military organizations, right? So
Correct.
basically, they used to have the best data. And that data is usually, the principle of the data is your data that will be used against you. So that's precisely what was happening. If you like this, you may also like this. Why are you telling me that? You're
Correct.
unnecessarily pushing products down my throat. It's not helping me. It's actually helping the P&L or the valuation or whatever it is. So the whole business was how to outwit and out-intelligence the consumer. Nobody thought about how can I respect the consumer? How can I respect the intelligence of the consumer? So what I believe you need in the age of intelligence is empathy. It could sound counterproductive, but take it from me that people who are good with empathy are the business leaders of tomorrow. Intelligence
Right.
is democratized today.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether I'm supposed to take name of other tech companies, but this is OpenAI. So Sam Altman had come to Delhi, and we had got him for an Economic Times talk. And somebody asked Sam, Sam, you have worked with artificial intelligence for so long. What have you learned about humans during this many years of working with AI? So Sam's answer was fascinating. He said, what? When I was growing up, intelligence was always put on a pedestal. But how smart a guy is was everything. Whether that person is going to Harvard, Stanford, like that was everything, right?
Of course. Even
So,
today, I think, to a certain extent.
so yes, it is still today. And his answer was very interesting, saying, and then after working with AI, I figured out that intelligence is overrated. It's actually
Wow.
a property of matter, because today intelligence has been democratized. What you can do, what a very intelligent human being
A
can do,
machine
an
can do.
algorithm can do better,
Hmm.
possibly.
Hmm.
So then the other aspects of humanity will become far more important.
Hmm.
The ability to have respect, the ability to have fellow feeling, the ability to understand the person from that person's perspective, you know, so that will become very important. And where machines will help, this is again my personal hypothesis, and I think I'm right, because eventually, see, human beings as a race are not necessarily very good, right? We all know that. We are not the we are not the nicest people. There are some 6, 7 wars
Partha,
going on.
remind us, we are not going to choose you as our speaker to the rest of the planets when we talk about humans. But I love
Because
the reality, right? I mean, I really do,
yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean, somebody has
yeah,
to be real, am I right? So,
yeah. I mean, we are not
yeah,
the best. We are not the best things that have happened to the planet, right? We have
right,
killed the planet. We have killed other
right.
humans.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
what is the number one reason for human death, right? Or human murder? It's other human beings. Like
Hmm.
predator animals are,
Hmm.
not even 2% of
Hmm. Hmm.
humans kill more humans, right? So
Correct.
so human beings are not necessarily the best people, but everybody, as I say, has got a lucid interval. So we all
Hmm.
have a
Hmm.
little bit of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The
Hmm.
problem is we don't know what time. We can't control that, because we
When
are
what will come out? Yeah.
we
Hmm.
are we are we are emotional beings. We are
Yeah.
controlled by our hormones. So
Hmm.
but you know what? If I can teach a machine the good part, then the machine can replicate it. So I
Yeah.
think the future belongs to algorithms which can replicate the better aspects of humanity and not just intelligence. So
Right.
that's where I think the future is.
Right.
Somebody like Mira Murati, who was the CTO of OpenAI and now runs this beautiful company called Thinking Machines.
Hmm.
So she had said one very interesting thing last time. I was generally chatting with her. She was speaking in Cannes, so on the
Hmm.
sideline, I was catching a coffee with her, and I asked her, that, "What do you think? What's going to happen with the whole business of ethics and safety?" And she told me a very interesting
Hmm.
thing. I said, "See, we need to look at AI very differently now. We cannot code and then think of safety, because the horse has
Hmm.
already bolted."
You have to code safety into it. Right.
Correct. You have to
Right. Right.
bake safety,
Almost
and
start safety first. Am I right?
absolutely
Almost. Yeah.
you
Hmm.
have to bake safety into the coding. You have to
Yeah.
bake responsibility into the coding.
Right.
And that's how I think the future of business will evolve with AI, because more and more the better human values other than intelligence would be brought in. Unfortunately, the IT companies, I'm sorry, it's not
No,
all,
please
but
be. Yes, please. No, please be
some IT
candid.
companies have put intelligence only at the center of everything.
Right.
And
Right.
now they're facing the fact that, you know what, that machine or that algorithm could be more intelligent than most of my people.
So give us an example of, tech companies putting intelligence at the center of something. What are you saying, that it's basically what they're saying is the quality of the humans that they're bringing to the projects, or is that something else? Like what do you mean by?
No. What I'm saying
Yeah.
is that even Eric Schmidt had said that I challenge you to defy that the objective of the world should be to make everybody smarter. I actually don't agree with it. I don't think the objective is to make everybody smarter. See what is happening to the world with everybody becoming smarter
Beautiful.
smarter than each other.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
the objective is to make people more human.
Yeah.
Objective is to, I mean, coding is not intelligence. Coding is also empathy.
Yeah.
So the objective is to make the world more livable. The objective is to make the consumer. So in consumer's journey, consumer today places huge premium on brands who get them.
Yeah. And who
And
also have that empathetic side, who care
That's
about
what-
the environment, who, you know what I mean? Like, is the consumer who's saying, I know I can buy that t-shirt for $5, but I don't want to. It's really amazing, especially Gen Z today. It's amazing. They're ready to buy something for $150. They don't ask for a discount, and then they will keep, wearing it for like a year or two. It's just fascinating, Partha, because I was not that generation. I was the generation that says I want 20 of those. And if I can get them cheaper, then it's great, because then I want 35 of those, right? So I think this new consumer is definitely dictating what the new, world should look like. And it's funny, from your conversation, it almost seems like we are hoping that the machines can teach us how to be more human. So am I right?
Or machines can replicate our human side, because the problem with humans, right? We can't exchange information. We have to exchange prejudice and bias, because
inherently, because we are biased.
We can't do pure information exchange. Only machines can do pure information exchange, right?
Yeah.
So therefore machine wins. Like another important thing, when one machine learns, every single machine in the world learns, right?
Yeah.
But when one human learns, that person keeps everything to himself or herself. Too close to this. Remember the guy who would come first in class, or the girl who would come first in class. He'll not even share his or her notes. So that's how inherently as humans we are. The point is, we need to pick up the better value of humanity. Use tech to multiply that. The brands who can do that faster are the brands of tomorrow. Because
so from your conversation, it looks like, and I have to say this because, a lot of, like, almost even a year ago, a lot of people were like, oh, this AI hype, it's going to be like one of those metaverses or something, or NFTs. By the way, both of them had their own place, I think, in the
no,
larger
they didn't have
context.
Any place. They were hypes. Let's be real.
They were trends. So my point is, even today, like, I think people have gone from, or I should say it's divided. Of course, there are fewer people who think this, but there were enough people, and I don't know whether you came across them, who thought that this was another trend that would die down. But you are looking at AI, especially generative AI. Yeah.
AI is a 1960 product.
Right.
So AI is not a trend. AI is a type of algorithm writing which has got improved over time.
Correct.
So basically, it's about machine teaching itself.
Yes.
So therefore, the fundamental structures of the algorithms are very different. It's not a cause-effect kind of algorithm. So therefore, AI cannot be a fad, because it is the way technology will evolve, and we haven't seen the beginning of it, because the next phase is when AI meets robotics. So as of now, you're not seeing AI in manufacturing too much. You're seeing a little bit, but not too much. When AI and robotics become, very advanced, we will not need people in factories.
Yeah.
And the factories will be safer. The factories will be more environment friendly. The factory will be more responsible to climate.
And they'll have less accidents, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like people, exactly, and less health issues. So to you, I mean, it's first and foremost, I mean, as an engineer, I'm assuming, just the way man and machine are coming together, or women/man and machine are coming together, is fascinating, it seems like. So, is this a scary time for businesses? And I'll come to the humans later. Is this a scary time or an exciting time? And who do you think are going to be the businesses that will win the next 12 to 18 months? How are you seeing this if you were looking at a crystal ball?
See, it is, let's not try to sugarcoat it. It is scary. Because if you are not getting worried about the pace at which things are changing, then you will be out of business before you realize. So people who have been running legacy businesses need to be worried. Need to be worried because you don't know where the disruption will come from. It's no longer some 3 kids in a garage. It could be totally different. It could be a different way of approaching the same problem. It could be. So all these are possible because of multiple possibilities being thrown up with tech.
Correct.
However, my answer is very simple. Get more women into leadership position. I'll tell you why. Seriously, because
empathy.
Women understand empathy far better than men. Far better than men. And empathy is going to be a savior. Empathy is going to save businesses. So have more.
Maybe we'll even be able to teach the machines how to be more human.
No. I'm saying that the moment you put more women in position of decision making, position of authority, then the role that machines will play is empathy multiplier and not intelligence multiplier. Correct. So this is because a natural man tendency is alpha, right? I need to win over another. So as they say,
and also problem solving, I think, right? And also problem solving, right? It's like, this is the issue at hand. Let's get to it.
Problem solving can equally be through empathy. Who said actually you can get better problem solving through empathy?
Correct.
Intelligence is about winning. It's about winning the argument at the end of the day, right? If the consumer is thinking like that, let me outthink the consumer. So I will give you an example, and that's how a classic, like alpha male thinking. So when my kid was small, I had gone to Disneyland, and they used to give a RFID band. I mean, Disneyland as in the US Disneyland. So they used to give an RFID band, and I thought this is ultimate in consumer delight because it was just telling me where to go, how to do it, and what to avoid, where there's a long queue, where there's a short queue, and like amazing. So and every time I had to just scan it and it will tell me whatever. I said, this is too good. Later on, in a marketing conference in London, the lady who was in charge of that RFID band, she was making a presentation. I was fascinated. I took a front row seat just to listen to her. And she said that the KPI was upselling lunch. So if the KPI of that RFID band was upselling, this is how we have used technology just to hoodwink the consumer. Fundamental. What is the difference between this and claim level, iodine in some salt? What is the difference between this? So we had used technology, and that trace is still prevailing. Technology is being used to outsmart people. My request to everybody is stop thinking like that. Technology should be there to genuinely think like people rather than outsmart or hoodwink or outwit people. So
now in organizations, Partha, you especially because you've been with so many organizations, like I said, I met you when you were, one of the key leaders leading, one of the agencies in India. And of course, this was a global agency. And so you've been in those roles where you have almost met the consumer from various facets, right? So as somebody who has seen that journey, as somebody who has looked at that, like how and it's easier said than done. It's like I tell people, I said, you think that the C-suite organization should work together, right? But in most organizations, they are in their own swim lanes, and because they have got their own KPIs, right? So it almost seems like uh, today organizations have no choice but to bring them to a central table. If they do not collaborate, right? If, for example, the brand organization does not see the tech organization, does not see the data organization, and then of course, the CFO organization and the CEO organization, if today they don't come together almost like a council, things will, first of all, that organization will not do well. And second thing is they will not speak a language that will speak a common language to the consumer. Am I right in this assumption?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I will add one more layer to it. I said around what they will come
Correct.
around
What
the
will they
table.
come together
They
for?
need
Yeah.
what will they come together for? And if you ask me, very early in my career, I understood one thing, and which has kind of helped me a lot in my career development, which is I figured out that there is nothing called consumer. There are only people. There is a worried mom, there's a football team supporter,
Wow.
there's a petrified student, there is a,
Wow.
frustrated teacher. I understood that these are more important
I'm going
than
to quote you
consumers
on
of
this one.
coffee.
This is beautiful. Yeah, this is magic. Yeah, yeah.
So
They
so
also consume. What you're basically saying is
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
also consume,
So
but
when
they
you
are
look at
actually,
people
yeah,
through act of
personas.
consumption, they look very different.
Yes,
It's like that.
right.
There used to be an advertisement of Pear soap where a little girl used to look at the world through the Pear
Yeah.
soap. That world
Yes.
used to look very different and distorted,
Blistering.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's not the real world. So
yeah.
very early in my life, I figure out that the truth is, if you don't understand your buyers as people. So even in Citibank
Back
days,
to
we
empathy.
never
Yeah.
we
Hmm.
never looked at a banking customer. We said that, like, what are the problems we can solve? Can you solve the problem of a uh, father who doesn't have the uh, school fee to be given at one shot? So we actually
Wow.
went, and we are the first one to negotiate with schools on credit card to say that, uh, you know let let us pay you the thing at one go. Let that person pay us back in six installment.
And this
And
was how many years back?
this is, I started working. You want me to give up my
No,
age?
like
Okay, okay,
no.
it's okay. I started
No,
I
meaning
started
no,
working in
no,
Citibank in
well,
1991.
no, 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 no. What I'm saying is basically that, if Citibank was thinking about this, say, I don't know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, like just think about
30
it.
years
How
ago. Yeah, yeah.
amazing is it that, because I think it's almost like the theme of our conversation today is empathy, and I think you can't emphasize it enough, right? To say that the organizations that are going to win are going to be the empathetic organizations. And so I'm fascinated by the fact that Citibank was thinking about this person who also seemed to bank or who has a problem that perhaps a banking organization could solve for like 30 years ago, right? When
Yeah,
empathy wasn't just a thing, but it was something that was like organizations just did it. It wasn't like an agenda item, right? Am I correct in that assumption?
yeah. and
Yeah.
and and empathy is not a charitable thing.
Yeah.
Empathy is being able to put yourself in the shoe of the consumer. That is the definition of marketing. Come on.
Yeah, yeah,
People
yeah,
didn't practice it. That's it.
yeah, 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 yeah. And so let's come back to why should the C-suite come together, right? Today, I believe the C-suite should come together because I don't know whether there are that clear swim lanes. Without great data, you're not going to be able to read this consumer really fast. Not even consumer, this person who you're hoping to interact with at some level. And hopefully the person will also buy from you. But the idea is to interact and connect with that person so that the person thinks of you more often than the others. Again, basics of marketing, right? And so hopefully the data will give you those insights, correct? And then you come to technology, perhaps can help you not just get to that person faster, but also to answer to that person as if the person is, an audience of one, right? I remember a long time ago, the Unilever CEO said something like, at some point, we would like to be the organization that answers to everybody as if they're an audience of one. And that is very fascinating because, Unilever is a fast moving consumer goods company, right? So to think that you can take the same detergent and talk to me differently than it talks to you is the only way I think you can do that is technology, right? And perhaps digital. So, um, I believe that, if unless this C-suite talks together and finds an intersection, that they will not work in sync. Meaning technology will have its own objectives, and the consumer organization will have its own objectives, and the CFO will have its own objectives of keeping the company profitable. But it almost seems like till yesterday, if it was okay, you had the luxury and the liberty of working in swim lanes. Today you can't, just especially because of the leaps that AI is causing in the environment, and therefore organizations need to get onto that bandwagon. Am I right in this thing?
See,
Wrong?
yeah, I mean, I would just come back to the purpose around which people will come together. It's
Yeah.
basically, I think the future of every organization is that they will eventually become a brand-based organization.
Every organization, no matter what you are like.
Whether it's a B2B, B2C, because what is brand? Brand is whatever you are producing, how the recipient is seeing it, right?
Seeing it, yes.
That is the definition of brand.
Yes.
Brand is not what you produce. Brand is whether it's a B2B or a B2C or whatever it is, you're making something for somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Or even B2G, whatever company you are, you have a recipient.
B2G being brand to group, brand to
government.
Oh, government. Okay. Yeah.
So all your defense companies and
absolutely.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's a pretty large audience for many companies, right?
So,
yeah, absolutely.
So whatever you are producing is not important. What that other person is seeing is what is important, right? That change has
perception.
Happened. That change has got accelerated through technology. So since brand sits in the center of the table today, so people will have to come around and work on different aspects of the brand. So even
and therefore the different aspects of the consumer.
Or the consumer and the product
interacting with the product and the brand organization.
The consumer product interaction. So or people product interaction. So therefore, if you see when brand is at the center of a tech organization, how profitable they are. Look at your Apples and Google. You see how profitable they are. Look how some of them are struggling because they thought that making a killer product is everything. Today also, if you go to the startup world, they're all trying to make the killer app. The killer app is fine. What is the story of that killer app is, I think, more important than the killer app itself.
Correct.
So therefore, again, trying to understand people as people is what will differentiate businesses from each other. And that needs a lot of tech help. That needs a lot of coming together of different part of the organization. And that needs intelligence getting replaced by empathy.
So let's come back to
so far. Let me just say one.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I just came up with a one-liner, so I thought it could be good. We have used intelligence for the purpose of intelligence. We need to use intelligence for the purpose of empathy.
No, absolutely. And so let's come back to, for example. Yeah, absolutely. I think you've been loud and clear in this conversation. And it's really fascinating because basically what you're saying is we need to all become more human. But there are some realities, right? And I think just inspired by your last role, right, which you just here, like just till the end of this month, as the president and chief brand officer, and of course, this was at the Times of India group, but just as a chief brand officer, right? If yesterday I had $100 to spend on media, and creatives and brand positioning and brand messaging, the reality of today is that because tech is not cheap, right? And investments into technology is not cheap. And if technology is morphing so quickly, the organizations need to take more of that $100 as a pie towards tech, right? So my questions is twofold. One, how do you think organizations should balance that? Because I'm sure you came across that in your last role as well. And second thing is, who owns, you think, Like, for example, AI, right? There's not every organization should have a chief AI officer. Who owns that technology basket, and who do you think should own that basket in an organization?
See, your question has got two parts to it. One
Yeah.
is in terms of media dollars. How should people look at it going forward? I think we need to look at it from absolute basic. There are two reasons for which people buy: physical availability and mental availability. So
Okay.
both has
Yes.
both has got both
Physical
has been
ability is the literal product, and mental ability is,
mental availability is when you're not buying the product, if there
but
is
it's top of mind.
something in your
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
something in your head, so which is your brand assets and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes.
So physical availability and mental availability both have got disrupted by tech. So today, a physical availability is also disrupted by tech. A mental availability is also disrupted by tech. People need to build different models of mental availability to allocate that money. Today, because tech is getting more and more efficient, you actually need to spend less in that promotional kind of activity, which is very close to down the
Wow.
funnel spend.
Yeah. Yes.
You have to actually maybe spending more to create brand assets.
Yes.
Because
in top of the funnel.
near
Yeah.
near the end of the funnel, everybody is desperately fighting. People who don't have money also come straight to the end of the funnel, right? Whereas top of the funnel, there is still some space to build brand assets. So we need to
Yes.
figure out that how to create different models of mental availability. So that is
Right.
critical. So there's no one answer to that. Thumb rule is 60% on creating, like brand assets, slightly larger brand assets, 40% on so-called
Tactical.
sales promotion.
Yes.
Sales promotion.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so that's the thumb rule.
Which,
It
by
keeps
the way,
changing.
in some ways is also the basics of marketing.
Yeah. But it keeps changing, and if it's changing at all, it's changing more towards creating brand assets.
Right.
Creating brand assets. Because like as I say, that there are two types of marketing organization. I mean, your dad can give you a 2-storied building and you can get rent out of that. And so that is one kind of marketeer who just has some brand asset and they just create sales out of that. There is another type of person who would build another floor on top of the 2 floors.
Yeah.
So that is called asset creator.
Yes.
So today, asset creators are more important than just, like asset exploiters or asset, getting the maximum benefit out of the asset. So if you are not building brand asset today, you will be history very soon. So therefore, building brand asset is absolutely critical. And so therefore, increasingly more money will get into building brand asset. The companies who will build brand asset in the era of data will live longer.
Right.
It sounds counterintuitive, but it's not. That's the truth.
Right. And therefore, who do you think should own the tech in brand organizations, or consumer goods organizations, B2B organizations? Where should tech sit? Who should be the owner of that, especially AI?
I can tell you the decision we took in Times of India. The consumer tech was sitting with the chief brand officer. So the chief product and technology officer was working with me because brand has a bird's eye view of how business is going to shape up by people who use the business.
Correct. And to you, AI and tech is an enabler to do that better, more efficiently, more empathetically. And so at the end of the day, the objective is still to answer to this person who sometimes is also consuming your products and hence is a consumer. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I won't say just enabler, I would say a partner, because enabler in a sense that you think that you have full control over. Today, AI has gone out of that. So you have to treat AI as a partner and not necessarily as a tech enabler. Those were those days when people would write ERPs and all. So the ERP was enabler. AI is not an enabler. AI is a partner.
So Partha, as somebody who started, your career in an organization that looked at people as people and, saw itself, I'm talking about Citibank, saw itself as a solution provider and a solution provider to a real problem, not one that has been created. what is your, leave us with three things. What are your three pieces of advice that you would give to organizations who are trying to navigate this new world, and obviously organizations that are global, right? What would be your pieces of advice to organizations today?
Number one, market is not important, culture is. If you can get closer to culture, you will outlive the market. Otherwise, market will outlive you. Number one. Number two, do not underestimate the intelligence of people. Don't think that just because you went to Harvard, you can, hoodwink the entire, ecosystem of people. No, you can't.
Do not keep intelligence at the heart of everything. Yeah.
No, or do not underestimate the intelligence of people.
Yeah.
So therefore, you do not try to out-intelligence anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And third is, human beings are far bigger than just their brain. We have to use the rest of humanity into building business.
Yeah, I do want to thank you, Partha. This has been such a fascinating conversation. I mean, I know we can talk for hours. I can't even thank you enough for this. I think there's so much wisdom over here. I go back with such amazing quotes, and I'm definitely going to, pollinate the world with that. I take away from this conversation of how important empathy is going to be, and also just our organizations' interactions with the environment, right? And to you, it almost seems like we are one with the environment is one with us, we are one with the machine is one with us, right? These partnerships, it looks like, are going to be we'll have to lean into these partnerships and make them part of our lives, right? Whether we are organizations or end consumers. And it looks like, from your view, technology therefore has to be seen, almost meshed into it, right? It's not something that is owned by somebody. And then, of course, finally, to you, because the technology is a partner, not just an enabler, you see it sitting in the consumer facing organization, whether in a very evolved organization, whether that person is a chief brand officer or a chief marketing officer, or whatever that consumer facing organization is. To you, technology is the partner that needs to, and that is why it's important that the technology organization and the brand organization, the marketing organization, speak, or at least look, with the same eyes, right? And see each other as partners. It's just, I can't thank you enough for this conversation.
That's absolutely right. And I would say tech should be owned by the person who can understand the meaning of this line, a very famous line, which says, I talk to people, I talk to my friends about your brand, not because I like your brand, but because I like my friends. So somebody who can understand this line should own technology in the organization.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it.
You've been listening to CMO Dialogues, powered by LTI Mindtree. We create transformative digital experiences that reach over 1 billion lives, driving deeper brand connections and lasting impact. Subscribe on your favorite platform so you never miss the insights shaping the future of marketing. Bold insights, real stories, the future of marketing straight from the Mavericks. See you next time on CMO Dialogues.